Dr. Maglia is awesome, especially. She's the one that came up with the idea to bring us all down here.
There's no way these kids would ever get the kind of opportunity to see some of these organisms. Well, this is the second time we've taught this course. The first time was with a geology group, and I was the biologist that went along. And this time we took a biology group down, and we took a geologist along.
So we're going to be looking for land-based fossils versus marine fossils. And if you look at the laminations in these rocks, they're fairly large, which is a good suggestion that they're wind-blown sand dunes.
My name is Vince Vogelai. I'm the executive director of the Gerace Research Center, and my job basically entails keeping this place running. Biologically, there's a lot of diverse environments here, a lot of small patch reefs right offshore. It's really a nice learning environment for groups in that you don't need boats to get out to the reefs here. You can just go right offshore. We also have nesting seabirds on several of the keys that can be reached. Of the species of seabirds in the Bahamas, we have 80% of the nesting species represented on our keys. So we have a very diverse population of seabirds.
Bird Island was amazing with how many birds were flying around, and they were nesting there, so they all had their eggs, and they were sitting on their eggs and protecting them, and got to see a lot of babies getting fed by their mothers, and that was really cool.
We have one of the rarest iguanas in the world that's found out on one of the keys. Only 600 or 700 of them left in existence, so that's another unique environment for people to study.
We also went into town one day, so we got to cruise the shops and see what was happening and talk to people in town.
Coburn Town is about 7 miles away, and it's a great opportunity for them to get in and actually see what life in the Caribbean is like. This island has traditionally been regarded as the first landfall of Christopher Columbus.
So this is believed to be the spot where Christopher Columbus had first set foot in North America. We're stopping here and having lunch and hanging out. We'll actually do a little dive after we have our lunch.
About anyone who has some interest in Caribbean environment or tropical environments, or even the archaeological standpoint, we basically have those well represented here.
A British loyalist that lived in the United States in the late 1700s. When the U.S. got its freedom, he left the United States and came down here and wanted to be a farmer. And it pretty much couldn't do it. And so he became a pirate. So he became pretty famous, and he took over the whole island and named the island after himself. So this was Watling's Island for a long time.
The little hole over there is where they would pick the bananas from the trees and store them down there.
Who hasn't been in the muck yet?
Yeah, there's some pretty nasty places that we went through. Some types of environments that we're never ever going to see in the middle of the United States, in the Midwest. One of the places we went to was a hypersaline lake, which means a pond that has about 4 times the salt of seawater. And there's not a whole lot of things that can live in that environment except a whole bunch of stinky bacteria. So we had the kids looking for different kinds of bacterial communities and trying to understand how the biodiversity of something that even has what we would think of a very poor environment is actually pretty rich. But you would never think that until you got in there and actually were rooting around in the mud and seeing this kind of thing.
Now we're getting a nice sediment core in here. You see the layering already? Yep. You got a nice change of color from an organic rich material here.
We're going to take these cores back to the lab and we'll analyze the bacteria that are in these cores.
See there's a surface right over here. There's several layers that are sandy rich, and what we found out...
And in a sense, it is sort of like a camp. We're a relatively isolated facility. We're not close to any of the major towns, so that people tend to come in here and they're fairly isolated on the base. We have a dormitory space where most of the students stay, sort of semi-private rooms, and then we have faculty rooms that are available here. And we provide meals and that type of thing, 3 meals a day for people, or field lunches if they prefer.
Once you take them out of the classroom and you bring them into the field and they're living the biology and they're submerged in the biology, they tend to be more social, they're having more fun. So we're going on hikes and we're going swimming and doing all these things, but in the process they're learning so much, and they're learning from one another, they're learning from their environment, they're learning from us, and it becomes a much more effective environment for students to learn in. In addition, we have them do their own research projects where they pick an area of biodiversity that they're interested in studying, and then they apply it to a project that they conduct while they're down here on the island.
What we're doing here is we're taking measurements of the length, the width, and the depth of tidal pools. Then we're counting the number of species of fish, worms, snails, crabs, whatever we find in the tidal pools, to determine if the size of the tidal pool will influence the biodiversity of the tidal pool.
In our free time, that's all we do is look for crabs.
And they run from us.
They actually have a personality. You know, some crabs, if you poke at them, they'll stay real still. With other ones, you gotta chase them around, which makes doing the project more fun, where there's more stuff to do.
Oh, he's there.
Oh,
he's gone.
Whoa!
See his eyes? Yeah.
Whoa. Did you see him clean his eyes?
Yeah.
That is exactly what he just did.
Yeah, we had a heck of a time. They bury themselves.
I can't believe you got him. He's beautiful.
How they clean their eyes.
Oh,
Because of the sand.
Yeah.
We were walking back, and this guy almost crawled up my leg as we were walking, and I'm like, ah, freaking out. And Jenna's like, oh my God, we gotta get it, it's a big one. He did it, oh my God, he did it. We're all biology majors here. I'm planning on going on and getting my PhD in marine biology.
I'm a biology major, and I think part of my decision to go on to grad school was because of trips like this and professors like Dr. Maglia.
If you can take this class at UMR, I'd suggest it. It's an awesome class. You can spend a week in the Bahamas. You can learn a lot of cool stuff.
The fact that we can do a trip like this and hang out with our professors on the trip, or even the dean, Dean Lutz is an awesome person. So it's a great opportunity to get to know people and get to do the research that you wouldn't necessarily get to do at a larger school.
If you're going to be bitten by the research bug, this kind of experience is going to do it.
Hey guys, there's a starfish down here.
Last night we did a night dive, put glow sticks on the students and had them go into the water and did a night snorkel. And certainly there's an educational aspect because there are a lot of organisms that they can't see during the day. But also it's just fun for the students to have this sort of adventure, and they can always remember that they were lit up with glow sticks in the middle of the Caribbean, in the middle of the night, swimming around looking for lobsters. And I think that's part of what I hope that they remember somewhere in their heart. This was a really enjoyable experience for them, and when they think about that enjoyment, I hope that they think about biology a little bit, and that they have a little bit of a good feeling about biology because they did this, and learning biology because they did this field trip.
People come out here and they go on trips like that and they take this class and they realize maybe I want to look at crab for the rest of my life, and this is something that they really become passionate about. Now I look at different tidal pools, I can walk along the beach and point out the different species of crab, and that's when I think you really get passionate about your work, is when you can just point to something and say that's what that is without having a field guide with you.